Hey, let's have ourselves a show.
Hey everybody, Mr. First Down here, aka Sam Dean. Happy to have anybody here that's listening and writing a little solo tonight if I'm a little bedraggled. Happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out there. I myself am stuffed full of food from having dinner with a bunch of the mothers in my life, and boy, oh boy, should we cherish them. Call her if you haven't called them. Talk to them if you haven't talked to them. Spend time with them if you haven't. Happy Mother's Day, everybody. So, interesting tidbit of news for the Titans. Not really a tidbit, but Tyler Boyd is now a Tennessee Titan, joining Brian Callahan as head coach. He was the offensive coordinator as for the Bengals, and now he is the head coach of the Titans. So Tyler is familiar with the system, what he's asking for. Some people have brought up the aspect that he has started to fall off. And looking at the stats through years, and his career started in 2016. And yeah, it has fallen off a bit yard-wise, but it didn't stop his 10-yard average, and it doesn't stop being productive. I think that's something to keep a grasp on. It's, I think people worry about a lot of things, and one of the things that anybody is going to worry about when it comes to this, hey, Daniel, how you doing, bud? Good to see you, is anybody will try to needle things, right? If the New England Patriots, let's say, had put together this wide receiver core, nobody really would have been saying the things that the wide receiver core that we have it now. If they put this together, everybody would be like, oh, something brewing up in New England. We put it together, and all of a sudden, the wide receiver room's too old. It doesn't make any sense, okay? Tyler Boyd can still ball. Tyler Boyd is still productive. Being productive is super important here. He's going to be a great slot receiver for us, and I'm happy he'll be here. Very happy. I could already see the third down possessions now, where he's going to catch something short and get us the first down, or catch something short and take it for another 8 yards, or get 8 yards when we only needed one, all of that stuff. The slot receiver in Callahan's system is going to be very important, and this guy knows how to run it. Other Callahan, Papa Callahan, Bill Callahan, former head coach, a great offensive line coach, and I am probably the most important coaching hire here. He got a little emotional here. Well, it tugged at me. I don't know. I wouldn't say he's emotional, but I mean, how about that he gets to play with his son? And he says he just really wanted to help him and the team succeed. It was really kind of a no-brainer in that regard. It's family, and you want to see him succeed like any parent wants to see his children succeed. And I was like, boy, I feel that way with my kids now. So I think it's just kind of cool that Bill Callahan has joined up with him. And I can't get enough of it, really. This guy, like, if you've watched any of the recordings from rookie minicamp that's happening right now or whatnot, that guy is teaching these guys, and they are locked in on him. You can tell. A lot of J.C. Latham has already said he's looked so forward to learning from Callahan. And all those offensive linemen gathered around him. There are reporters that stood nearby to him teaching, and they said, I learned more from Bill Callahan just sitting there listening to him talk about offensive line play than I ever have from a position coach before. This guy is awesome. And with him comes a sled named Bertha. Bertha is one of those pushing sleds. You always see the offensive linemen pushing around. But Bertha doesn't move if you don't put your hands in the right place, and will get heavier as you push it if they think you need to work harder. One of the favorite videos I have is J.C. Latham, Latham, as he's on his knees, trying to shove this thing. And, I mean, it's moving, but that thing looks immense. Bertha, he calls it. I think the other one's called Helga or something like that. I have to look it up. I was trying to find it. I know the other one's called Bertha. But, man, it's so great to have a position coach like him adding to this offensive line that was nowhere to be found and rudderless last year. They are building something there. The only question is it all going to come together so you can win some games? That's what it's all going to come down to there. You can't take it for granted, you know. So I was trying to think. We have signed so many of these new, undrafted players and whatnot. And teams do this all the time, but I have a feeling that this team, who really needs their guys from the draft to work out, really needs some of these undrafted guys to do well enough to make the team. So you've got guys that are guards who I think are going to have a pretty good chance to make the team. You've got guys that are tackles that have a pretty good chance are going to make the team. You have guys that are linebackers I feel pretty good about making the team. I still think they're going to get a veteran edge somewhere. I'm not exactly sure where, but they need another edge there to fill out the depth, right? Because you got Arden Key on one side, you got Harold Landry. It's the guys behind them that you need. So a veteran edge somewhere would be fantastic. It would have been nice to be reacquainted with Bud Dupree, but I think the Chargers wanted him. The Chargers want almost everything that I want, right? They take Joe Alt from under me. Not that J.C. Latham's a bad pick. I'm not saying that at all. But, it's the natural progression of things. The Chargers had a good draft, and I had a lot of those guys I would have loved to have on my team. But, they get to pick before you. That's how it works, unfortunately. So as we move on to this rookie mini camp and we see Sweat and we see Latham video of all the rookies walking in and they're Sweat and Latham, and you can spot them from a mile away. They're just men amongst boys walking through there. But if these two guys hit, then this team is in good hands. But that being said, the most important thing here, even if they do hit, is the guy throwing the football. Because this whole team, and we said this a million times, but we got to reiterate it again, is built to show if Will Levis is the guy. If he is the guy, this season's going to be fun. If he's not the guy, it's going to be hard to watch, and you should expect another quarterback back there taking snaps next year. That's the name of the business, folks. That's how it's got to be. I hope and pray that Willie Mayo Man Levis is the guy, because there's really no excuse for it anymore. I mean, you could possibly look at the line not being as good, but there's just a lot of assets going towards the offensive line with possibly the greatest offensive line coach to coach that position. He has got to perform. He's got to throw balls right to Boyd. He's got to throw balls right to Ridley. He's got to throw them to D-Hop. I'm hoping personally that guys can really show out that we need to show out. Traylon Burks, we all thought he was going to be gone, but from the way they're talking at press conference, it looks like they have a role for him. Now, the question is, this is going to be one of those things that we get to find out about coaches. Are they going to be the kind of guys that say one thing during the press conference and then they do something else later on? We have to fill this team out, right? Vrabel was little or no information coming out of their camp. Callahan so far seems to be pretty amiable, seems to be a guy that will give you information. I think he even had the stats to Traylon Burks' practice when they talked to him last week. So it looks like they are going to try to do something with Burks. I would be curious to what that is. I'm also curious what they're going to be doing at kick returner. There's a lot of things they could do. Oh, almost forgot. They need to add a veteran edge, and they need to add a safety. If they can go out and get, I think his name is Simmons, I can't quite remember, then this offseason has been just absolutely fantastic if that happens. Absolutely fantastic from top to bottom. It already has been fantastic, but I guess whatever's higher than fantastic, that'll be that. Because right now you made this secondary, which was horrendous, into a really mean even secondary. Roger McCreary, Awuzie, and of course, I even forgot the Snead. or I mean, I did it on Facebook. It's Facebook of official Bodkins, but I don't know what other. I don't know. I dread to imagine what you would be suggesting to her for Mother's Day. But happy Mother's Day again to everybody out there. Remember, call your moms, talk to them, all that good stuff. Okay. So when it comes to these undrafted free agents, we have a nasty habit, and Titans fans do, and I'm sure other fan bases do as well, of really latching on to guys that flash during preseason. It doesn't matter to anybody that these guys are going against guys that will never see a football field again. But we do this all the time. We do it with guys like Mason Kinsey. The list goes on and on. We cannot get latched to these guys, all right? If they show up and they do well, it's fine. But you cannot look at preseason and tell me 100% that this guy deserves to start over the other guy. It's just not possible, right? We have a running back named Julius Chestnut, who a lot of you, if you're Titans fans, know and enjoy. I like him too. But Spears is better. And he was better as a rookie than Chestnut was. And them's the berries. But still, here's everybody on social media. Here's everybody you're talking to about your team and everything. Can't believe they did that to Chestnut. Poor guy. Spears is better than that guy. Sometimes there are people drafted that don't have as much experience as that guy, but they're better athletes, and they're just smarter, better. What is a Kanye song? Faster, bigger, stronger, all that stuff. They're just better. And you got to put your team in the right place to win. It's not about what your heart wants. It's about what is logical at that time against the other team. That's how it works. Okay. I'm really happy about Tyler Boyd. I imagine quite a number of us are. This is probably the biggest offseason I've ever seen us have. I don't think anybody can question that. I don't remember having this many good wide receivers. Never in my lifetime. I had said this before, and I got a lot of flack for it, that the Titans were going to have to change. And this is before last year. I had said they're going to have to change because running the football the way they do is going the way of the dodo. Now you can point to the Ravens out there, but come on. First of all, the Ravens still haven't won the big one with Lamar Jackson and running the football a million times. And then they get in the playoffs and then they don't run it. They decide to throw it for no reason. So take that for what you will. But it's a good thing that the Titans are changing now. It doesn't guarantee that you're going to have a good season this year. It does guarantee that you have the ball rolling, though, if that's the way you're going to head. This is an era of football with the Patrick Mahomeses, Josh Allens. It's very quarterback-driven, and teams don't run the ball a whole lot. They throw it. They throw it a lot. This team is going to pass the ball about 60% of the time. Now, I say that, and then the first game will happen, and they'll run it like – just a little bit more than pass it, and you guys will be like, see, with just pointing at the stats and not pointing out what happened in the game. That's the other thing we have to work on, things that fans should change before going into the season. Stats never tell the whole story. Never have, never will. But don't take me as being, I would call it more of a realist, not a Debbie Downer. We just have to keep track of the fact that you're changing the whole team's philosophy in one season. Have you made it easier with the assets you have gathered? Absolutely. Doesn't mean it's going to be easier because you're still going to have holdover from the last philosophy. You're still going to have contracts with guys that you're stuck with. It's all going to. That's just how it's all going to iron out. But this is how the cookie crumbles in football. Everybody came up against the draft or the cap at times. We came up against the cap last year. The Bills came up against the cap this year. The Cowboys are close to going over the cap, even though Jerry said he was all in and then didn't do very much. The cap is real. The cap is a very real thing. And while you can – what's the Johnny Cash song? You can run on for a long time. Sooner or later, God will cut you down. Sooner or later, the NFL cap will get you. That's just how it is. Is there anything else? I don't think there's any other news to really cover. I don't have a compatriot here, so thank you for being patient with me. Unless anybody's got anything else to say in the comments, which I don't see anymore. Let's see. Stats only matter in the bedroom. Yeah, you want to talk about controlling the ball, right? Just controlling the time clock. That's how that rolls. I like that, Steve. That's funny. Stats only matter in the bedroom. Oh, yeah, but people, if they want to make their argument, will point to the stats saying, well, why do they run it this much then? They don't take it to the fact that, like, maybe they ran it more towards the end of the game to eat clock and it was just BS time, right? The game was already decided and they're just running out the clock. People don't take that into measure. They want to be right, so they point at that stat over and over and over again. Now, there are times, don't get me wrong, there are times stats totally prove your point. We've seen that a million times. It's like when I had to look up, because we were discussing taking a tight end in the first round, Bowers and whatnot. But there hasn't been a lot of successful first-round tight ends. And I can't exactly remember who argued with me about it, but if you look it up, a lot of the first-round tight ends, not very good. And if they were good, it took them a couple of years to get there. So stats can help you out a whole lot. They can make an argument for you, but you just have to keep it, keep it in context is the way it needs to go. Like the bedroom, keep it in context. Gee whiz. Well, I don't see any more comments coming through, so happy Sunday to everybody. I will be on tomorrow on the LTS show where we're going to have Jim Behringer and then our hitting coach, Jonathan Grishman, on. We're going to talk some baseball. We'll talk wrestling and hockey, playoff hockey with Jim Behringer, and we'll talk baseball with Jonathan Grishman. It's going to be a good time. Can't wait to get on with the fellas. Can't wait to cut it up in the chat with anybody or all that fun stuff. It's been a fun weekend. It's been a fun off season, but now you're getting into that part now after the draft, that dead zone where everybody is just like, can we start the football season yet? We're not even at training camp or anything. We're raring to go. I am also raring to go. I'm tired of reading articles about my team. Oh, and by the way, the other thing we need to control ourselves on. People, I think this is ironic here, but people need to watch who they're looking at on YouTube. Let me explain. There are some people that think they have like the inside scoop. Some guy edits a nice video of Titan stuff, and then he says, oh, the rest of the NFL is sleeping on the Titans or whatever. And then everybody's like, look at this guy. He knows what he's talking about. Does he know what he's talking about? Or does he just giving his opinion on something? The people like that, man, I would try to stay away from. And I'm not saying you need to listen to the talking heads either. They are bad, if not worse. They don't even know who's on the team. They don't know. Let me put it to you this way. If you're a fan of a team in the NFL, the talking heads on ESPN, NFL Network, and anything like that, they don't know as much about your team as you do. Just remember that, because they are about a story. They're not really about context, just like we talked about earlier. But anyway, it's been fun riding solo here. Thank you for bearing with me. Thank you for putting up with the awkwardness of me just sitting here in silence talking to you about Titans football. I hope you have a great Monday tomorrow. I hope you have a great work week. I'll see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Central on the LTS show, and we will catch you then. See you later, everybody.